Hello and welcome everyone. Here we are again today to talk about this beautiful, refreshing and rejuvenating new moon in Aries. It's really a reason to celebrate new life, to restart ourselves, to refresh ourselves, to feel recovered from something, from everything, to recover ourselves from the whole journey that we've been through. We are recycling ourselves. It's really a chance for something brand new, for totally new direction, for totally new perspective, for a totally different and new way of being, doing, and living. It's really a turning of a new page, and this is all happening in the midst of the spring equinox, and it's very powerful. It's very powerful. Spring equinox is one of the four main points that happen during the year, and we have four sides of the world, four seasons, four elements, and this spring equinox is like the astrological new year. It is considered to be astrological new year. It's where everything starts to wake up. It's a big awakening. It's a big refreshing energy. It's a peaking new moon right after spring equinox. Spring equinox means that the sun entered the sign of Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, and Aries is the first. It's the number one. It has to be first. It's the first impulse. It's the first spark of the consciousness, the creation, the direction, the pioneering energy, the will, the wanting, the desire, anger, courage, assertion, aggression, and violence as well. It's a sexual drive as well. It's a conflicting and war energy and weapons, incidents and injuries, and also moving forward. It's a oomph energy of moving and having a direction. And we are perceiving ourselves in a new way. We are stretching our perspectives, and it's high creative energy. The sun enters Aries on the 19th of March, and this new moon happens on the 20th of the or the 21st, depending on where we are in the world. So we have this beautiful energy, brand new initiation, new feelings, seeing reality in a completely new way after having these very heavy energies prior to this new moon. New year hasn't started in a way of something new, but this now is really something new. Plus, we just recently experienced Saturn's transit into Pisces, which is also a big new beginning in the transition. And also, together with this new moon, we have powerful energies happening too, because the ruler of this new moon in Aries is Mars, the fiery planet Mars, and Mars is now still in Gemini, and Mars has been here since October, so it's been 7 months, and it's been a long journey due to its retrograde motion, and now it's still in Gemini at the very last degrees of Gemini, and it's closing some story that began in October. It's closing some storyline, and it's giving us an opportunity for something new. And it comes out from Gemini on the 25th of March, so only a couple of days after this new moon. And also we have another big transit, which is Pluto, the lord of the underworld. Pluto, known as the Hades, Pluto, the transformer, the keeper of the souls, the guidance, or the guide of the souls. And Pluto is coming out of Capricorn, where it's been since 28. So it's been 15 years that Pluto has been in one sign, and it's now coming out of Capricorn, and it enters Aquarius on 23rd of March. So it's all together. It's a really tight energy, and it's all together around this new moon and spring equinox. So we will feel this huge boost of newness and freshness, and this need to recover from something, this need to come out and refresh ourselves, to do something new, with ourselves and with our lives, with everything. It's really a powerful moment. We have a green light from life that we have to take advantage of and really do something different. So new moons symbolize new beginnings, and these new beginnings are seeded in darkness, because before the new moon there is a time, there is a phase that is called the dark phase of the moon. This is when the moon is invisible in the sky, and this is the time when the moon is considered to be dead. So if we don't see it, or if it doesn't move, it's considered dead. So there is this process of death, and then after death comes rebirth and regeneration and new beginning. And it's very, very powerfully aligned with Aries, because Aries also represents this rebirth and first breath also. Our first breath is Aries energy. It's a first creation and first thought, and that's why that affirmation, I am, is related to Aries. So it's again now a time to remember this affirmation and this feeling that I am. It's not about asking questions, who am I as a person, but just who am I? And the answer should be I am. And that's it. If we can feel, if we can tap into this feeling, we can really do something that is really renewing and rejuvenating, and we can all do this. Of course, we all carry that impulse within ourselves. Aries is the head, the face, so it relates with our thoughts as well, and also with our physicality, with our body, with who we are, with our personalities. This is the first house in the zodiac, the ascendant. It's always related with Aries. And during the new moon, the sun and the moon are together. They are in conjunction, and they are together, and the sun is actually exalted when in Aries. It feels very good in Aries, and they are both fiery. Sun is a ruler of Leo, and it relates to fire. Aries also is ruled by Mars, and then it's again a fire. And there is a lot of this initiatory fire, initiatory flame and fire, and it's very powerful. It has this Martian energy, and we can choose if we are going to play with this energy on low levels, and that would be the lower expression of Aries, which is infantile behavior, very impulsive, overreactive, like snap decisions, snap choices, being ignorant. And actually in Sanskrit, it's Aries is related to the word avidya, and this means the ignorant. And because just Aries energy, archetype energy, Aries part in us just goes straight forwards. That we don't look anywhere. We just want to conquer, to get to that goal, to reach the goal. We don't think about the consequences. And taking risks can actually be very good now, and we can take risks, but we shouldn't go blindly into something. Also, we shouldn't be foolish. We shouldn't be foolishly courageous. Aries is bold and courageous and very direct and assertive, but we shouldn't be foolishly courageous and bold as well. So when the child is born, the first thing that comes out when child is born is the head. So Aries, the head, the first. So this is what first comes out, and this is the first breath as well. When we inhale that first breath, we inhale all elements and all structures and elements from the outside world, and this is like the imprint into our soul, like we took that first breath. And that's why we take the hour and the exact time of birth, and the place, because that's what was happening right in that moment, and we know what elements played, what planets played the part and what was happening, so we can take the identity, we can see the identity and personality and the character of the child. And this is very powerful because now we can really connect with that first breath. We can reconnect with that first breath, and we can remember who we are. We can remember that first moment of, of the first moment of understanding and realizing, just feeling actually I am. And that would be, there is again in Sanskrit a thought from Upanishads, ancient texts, that says tat tvam asi. That would mean you are that, or that you are, or that is all. You are that. And it means I am who I am, nothing else, just pure I am. And it's something that refers to the universal principle. These words, tat, means universal principle, and tvam would be like the individualized aspect of ourselves, the soul. So this is who I am, and we should all remember this, and not allow ourselves to be avidya, the ignorant, but allow ourselves to be the warriors, of the heroes of our own lives, to be who I am, and to understand that this is the direction, and it's the first impulse. So the direction, the masculine energy, is direction, and it's moving forward. It's a straight line, and it's rushing ahead in all directions, just like an arrow. And then this direction, when it comes very close to something that is very dense, and when it starts spiraling into something round, and these are the horns of an Aries. This is what we see in the glyph of Aries as well. We see those horns. So there is a direction, and then there is this curve. So we have both principles in every sign, masculine and feminine. Masculine would be that direction, and feminine would be those curves that are rounded. So the direction moves, and then it starts spiraling, and then it curves and bends. And then we have those horns. So they are the principle of creation also. And they represent creation, and they represent the masculine and feminine, and their mutual harmonious dance that creates life. So we now have this opportunity to create this harmony within ourselves, to awaken the direction and the curve within ourselves as well, to see that we are both masculine and that we carry both principles within ourselves. And this is the proof that without the spirit we would only be elements, and how elements on their own cannot think and create and produce. There must be something that brings them together, that mixes them in an intelligent way. So these elements are mixed in an intelligent way, and without the spirit we would only be elements. And this is what we are now becoming more aware of, the direction and the curve, male and female. These are also two basic human types. Are we in direction type, or are we in the curve rounded type? So we are now being initiated by this fire. We are literally kissed by a fire, and this kiss can make us see things. This kiss can be an awakening kiss by fire. And Aries invokes this archetype of a sacred warrior. And it reminds us that some stories need to be refrained. they need to be processed by fire again. So the new moon in Aries is the start of this astrological new year, as I said, but as I said, that's not all. We have so many things happening. Powerful Pluto moving into this authentic, innovative sign of Aquarius, and it reminds us of the power that we have somehow lost, and the power that we want to gain back, and the power that we are yet to build and to receive and to gain. So this is something that we are about to see in the next 20 years. But Pluto won't be in Aquarius now for the next 20 years, but Pluto will only come into Aquarius for some 3 months. And it will be in Aquarius until 11th of June, when it will come back retrograde into Capricorn. And then it will move back and forth between the last degrees of Capricorn and the first degrees of Aquarius, until it eventually settle in Aquarius around the end of 2024, where it will stay until 2044. So it will be 20 years, and in these 3 months between March and June, we will get this micro view, this sneak peek of what this Pluto in Aquarius will mean. And we will also experience what we've been through in these last 15 years. We will all feel very much different. Of course, everyone on their own way, their personal way. We should all, you can see where is Capricorn in your chart, which area of the zodiac, which house is Capricorn in your zodiac, and then you will see where you've been through many, many transformations in these 15 years. And we will all feel that some burden has fallen off our chests when Pluto comes out of Capricorn, because it's been really like destructive force that's been ruining everything that's been built on unstable foundations. So we are now moving from individual leadership to leadership that is really very much based on the collective and group consciousness. So there is a greater push to express our individuality as well, and we will see many things happening in technology and artificial intelligence, and this is something that we will feel also within ourselves. What is artificial within ourselves? What can we improve? What is our greatest technology? And technology of consciousness is waking up as well. So we will see this theme of humanism versus transhumanism, and this is something that is deeply and thoroughly explained and interpreted in a very profound way in a book that we have on our Moon Omens website, The Age of Aquarius. This is something that we should all become more aware of. Some truths that have been hidden from us are now exposed, and we can touch them. We can get in touch with those truths, and we can just remember things that we have forgotten on our subconscious level. Those are not things we have maybe learned in this life, but these are things that we know in our own being. This is what triggers the remembrance of knowing that I am. So we will see some big technology companies maybe also losing their power, but also some other technologies rising. So we will have more focus on community building and some abilities to recognize the power of people that I also mentioned in our 2023 astrology forecast video on YouTube channel. So you can check 2023 video on our YouTube channel, and you can also check this book, The Age of Aquarius, that we have on our Moon Omens website. So you can connect the dots and help yourself walk through this journey. You can help understand this journey better, the journey of ourselves, the journey of this character that we are playing, the journey of this role that we have identified with, and the journey of the soul who witnesses all of those roles. So it's a very refreshing moment where we can catch up with our lost identity. So where we have lost ourselves, where do we feel that we have lost who we are? And we will see that these things are coming back to us now. So the moon is a symbol of our most innermost feelings and our emotional foundations, while the sun represents our ego, our willpower, our physical identity, our sole purpose of on the planet, our authority as well. So when both of these luminaries come together, we should just be aware that anything is possible. This is when new life sprouts. This is the blossoming of who we are. And this Aries is the initiator, the pioneer, the warrior. So we can bring these archetypes alive. We can manifest these archetypes, the initiator, the pioneer, the warrior, the leader, the hero, all these archetypes that are related to Aries energy and Mars, we can really manifest. These are our will and our drives. What drives me? What drives me? What inspires me? What makes me want to move forward? What wakes up this passionate side in me? What is my passion? What is something that I'm truly passionate about, that excites me, that makes my fire burn, and that makes my fire glow in the darkness? This is courage and action and reaction as well. This is the symbol of the ram, Aries the ram. And Aries the ram meets life head on. There is no this or that or indecisiveness. No. We just know, this is what I want. This is who I am. This is my chance now. I'm going to get this. Just go and get it done. Just start something, initiate something new. It's all about action. It's all about taking action and putting energy into something. And we may also be a bit obsessive with something, because Mars is the ruler of this new moon, and Mars can be very obsessive energy too. And Pluto is involved in the game, so Pluto can also bring that obsession as well. This is, me first, Aries, me first. I am important, I am special. Look at me, look what I do, look what I can do. And this is the competing energy. So we may have this need to prove ourselves, to compete, to show that we are the best, the first. But we may also recognize these things in others, and this may irritate us in some way. This may frustrate us, but we should ask ourselves, why is this triggering this reaction in me? Why this irritates me? Why this frustrates me? Unless I have that somewhere, and maybe that is suppressed in me. Maybe I'm suppressing this need that I want to be seen, I want to be heard, I want to be held, I want to be admired, I want to be recognized for what I know, for what I do, for how I look, for this is Aries first. Me, look at who I am. So we should be aware that these things can also happen in our relationships, in our business, in our career, with our colleagues, with our family, with ourselves, first and foremost with ourselves. And our fire, this is where the fire of our will direct us, and this should be something spontaneous. Aries is spontaneous. There is no plan. No, we are not planning anything. This is our individuality, our unique self-expression, our independence. So I need to be independent in order to be who I am. I cannot follow your voice. I have to follow my voice. Even though your voice may be the right, I'm going to do this my way. So we should do these things my way, but again I said not to do it foolishly, not to do it at any cause, not to do it just for the sake of doing it, but let yourself burn in that fire of decisiveness, and be aware that you are a warrior. Like, I can do this because I know who I am, not because I don't know who I am and I want to prove something no matter what. That would, of course, get us into trouble, and that is why also Aries is related to this infant and infantile energy, where we just do something for the sake of doing it without knowing why we are doing it. And we should really be aware of this too. This is the breath of fresh air. It's a restart, as I said. So it's about self-love. And self-love can be seen as selfish or self-serving. Actually, it can be manifested in either of these two. So we should ask ourselves, am I in this selfish way, egoic way, or am I in this self-serving way, where by serving myself I am also serving others, and by serving others I am serving myself. So Aries does teach us to put ourselves first and to stand up for ourselves. This is the sign of warrior. So we have to stand up for ourselves. We have to put ourselves first. But this is very tricky, because we think to put ourselves first can actually drive us crazy, because we think if we put ourselves first, then we deny others. But then we may not put ourselves first because we think we have to, serve others. So this is a very messy, these are messy terms. But that's why I say let's allow this energy and this fire to reconnect us with that first breath, to reconnect us with that initiatory fire of newness, of freshness, of something that is giving us a chance to see life from a new perspective, to see everything from new perspective. We are changing our perspective. We are not thinking in terms of, either or. No. We are not choosing. We are able to see things from totally different perspective, where we can really serve ourselves and be in this self-love and being in this initiatory fire, where we know these words that I mentioned, that say, that is who I am. I am who I am. And we don't have to prove anyone who we are. We don't have to justify who we are or why we are who we are. And we don't ask this from others. So we stop asking others to justify themselves, to prove themselves, to compete with us. We can come out of this unhealthy competition, this toxic competition, where we are just looking at who is better in anything. Or if we are talking about misfortune, then we are also competing who is less fortunate. Like, oh, poor me, feeling sorry for myself, feeling sorry for what I've been through. So we can also go in that direction. This is also Aries, egoic way of competing. So we can compete either in on these higher letters, degrees, or on lower degrees. So it's the same. It doesn't matter if we are thinking that we are, in a bigger misfortune, or if we think that we are the bigger, the better, we have more of everything, more material security, more stability, more beautiful partner, we are prettier than others, we have succeeded in this or that, or I don't know, whatever it is. This competition, the toxic competition, needs to be burned. And if we are in any way intoxicated by that, we will feel it and it will burn us in some way. We will feel burned by our own egoic desires to compete in that toxic way and to put our others down. So these toxic competitions are always showing us that we have to put others down if we want to compete. So this is what this means. So this kind of competition is always putting others down, and this is not what this energy should be about, but we will feel it. If we are in any way involved into that kind of unhealthy competition, we will feel, and we will feel burned. We will feel this burning in our own being, and it won't be very comfortable, but it's very powerful, because we will know. So we will learn, we will see what is not right, what I need to work on, and we are willing to be with ourselves and not abandoning ourselves in moments that we don't, where we don't like what we're feeling. So if we feel burned, if we feel like we are receiving some uncomfortable feelings, we shouldn't abandon ourselves in those moments, but be willing to be with ourselves, accept and take full responsibility if we don't like what we are feeling. So Aries is really self-assured, and it can help us to have this moment of knowing that I can do this. I can definitely do this. I know that I can do this. So we won't be afraid of failing. We can freely take risks, and this is our inner urge to begin something, to initiate something, to explore, to develop, to discover, to experiment, to experience. And this is the time when the light and the darkness are in balance. This is what the equinox means. These are equal amount of light and equal amount of darkness. The night and day is equal, and this is the balance of those two opposing sides in us as well. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world. Northern hemisphere is the spring, but southern hemisphere is the fall. But it doesn't matter. The sun enters Aries wherever you are in the world, and this means the inner spring, the blossom of who we are, the new beginning, the rejuvenation, as I said. So it doesn't matter where we are. We will all feel this balance between the light and dark. And it's also symbolic meaning of life conquering death. So we are celebrating something. Aries is always related to youth and something fresh. So it's related also to green color, not only red with Mars, but also red. Mars is also the blood and the iron. And when we have strength, it's an adrenaline rush and blood, being able to do things. But it's also about the green energy of something youthful, something young. So it's the spring blossoming, the trees, the fruits, and everything is just becoming renewed. So the green and red are very, very powerful during this time also. And this year's spring equinox, this energy also is known as by the name Ostara, Eastern. So Ostara is older name. It is also kept in some traditions over the world, and this is the Eastern energy. So we are celebrating the energy of resurrection, the energy of new birth. Let's not forget this. So we all have this powerful energy to feel rebirthed, to manifest something new, and it's the victory of light. So if we've been down, if we have felt pushed in the darkness, if we have felt like we are lost in our own labyrinths of our mental delusions and projections, our own mental void, this energy will bring that victory of the light. It's a time when nature awakens. So we are waking up from the inside. This is celebration of light and fertility. This is we are looking at the rising sun and we feel alive again. This is that kind of moment. So we are this rising sun as well. So let's identify with the rising sun and feel alive again. Feel that first breath, feel alive. Try to practice each breath as your first breath and try to evoke that feeling of knowing of who I am in that first moment, in that first breath, and just looking at the rising sun and identifying with that energy, with those first rays of light. This is also this kind of energy now, and this is whatever comes up for us during this time is a part of a greater story, as it is always, but now it's very important. Why? Because this new moon happens on the very first degrees of the sign, the very first degrees of Aries, which is again very fresh, very young energy, something very new, the new seed, the initiation, the intention. And then we will have the second new moon in Aries, and it will be the second new moon in a row that will be in Aries, and it will happen on 20th of April, and it will be the eclipse time. It will be the first eclipse in 2023, and the first eclipse in the series of eclipses that will happen in Aries Libra axis. So it will be very much related to what is happening now, what we are initiating right now, what we are dealing with right now, what comes up during this time. So these eclipses will be active in the next 2 years. And that next eclipse, that next new moon in Aries on 20th of April will be happening on the very last degrees of the sign. So these are the first degrees, that one will be on the very last degrees. So we will see where is this intention moving around the next new moon, around that eclipse time. And this is a fiery time ahead of us. It's strong and bold, and it helps us make some fearless choices. It helps us do things that we have only dreamed of doing. It helps us do things that we have never imagined that we can do. We would be surprised, like, look, wow, I can do this. I can really do this. I didn't believe myself. But now I know I should have believed myself all the time, all along. How foolish of me that I thought I couldn't do it. But look how easy it is actually. So something that seemed very hard for us, something that seemed very impossible, will show us that we can actually do this. There is a chance. Oh, look, there is a way. There is a door, like we couldn't see an exit. But now suddenly we see an exit from this labyrinth that we've been locked inside. We've been circling around. We have been lost in our own illusions, lost in our own mental patterns. But now we see the light. Now we see the exit point. Now we see some spark. We see that light at the end of the tunnel, symbolically speaking. So more fresh energy is building up for us. But Pluto is also involved, and Pluto is transformation and power. It can bring some kind of destruction, but through that destruction we are able to rebirth something and to bring something that is much better, actually. Much better, more powerful. So this is initiation into something really powerful, something that really has a strong value. So something may need to burn. Something may really need to burn, and this fire can be huge. But this rebirth from the ashes is happening absolutely. This is Pluto related to Phoenix, rising from the ashes, the fire. So the fire from Mars and Aries, and the fire from the mythological bird Phoenix that comes through the Pluto archetype is really helping us to burn something that is not serving us, to burn something that is maybe very old, and to give ourselves this new birth through those ashes. and to use those old things as those ashes that we are going to be rebirthed through. So we may feel like we are born again. We are feeling like we are rewriting ourselves. We are rewriting rules that we have lived by. We are rewriting programs that we have ran until now. We feel ourselves turning a new page. We are really doing it, and we can understand the role that's been active, the role that we are about to take, the new role that is being prepared for us. It's like getting a new suit for ourselves. So we have a new new clothes that we are going to wear. We are taking on our new role, but we stay who we are. We are not confusing ourselves with that role. You know, it's very easy to understand it when we put this allegory. It's the most simple and easiest for majority to understand. So we are playing these different roles, and we identify, and that's what causes suffering when we are identified with that role. But if we can detach from the role and realize that we are only playing a role, but there is this essential being of who we are all the time, the true me behind those roles, that's when these sufferings just dissolve. So we now have this opportunity too, to understand the roles, to take the different roles and to play them perfectly, but to know at the same time that we have the essential being of who we are, that we don't forget who we are by playing those different roles. So let's not forget our true identity. And our true identity is not our name, it's not our title, it's not our profession, it's not our social status, none of that. So all those things are our roles, and they are also important, but we should never forget that essential part that is always there within us, and that is witnessing all these roles. So there is this huge cosmic allowance, huge approval from the cosmos that gives us ability to start something we've always wanted, to start something we have always imagined and dreamed of, but we somehow didn't have courage or willpower. We didn't have that motivation or trust that we needed. So now we have this trust. We can get on this new adventure, and nobody stops us actually. Only our perception, only our beliefs. Our beliefs can prevent us from achieving that. But now, during this time, we can break through those beliefs. We can just use those horns of the ram and just break through those beliefs. Imagine all those beliefs in front of you. Imagine yourself having the horns of the ram and just having the shield that protects you, and the fire in other hand, and just burn those beliefs, break through those beliefs that are taking away the power and putting us down and telling us that we cannot do something, it's not possible now, maybe later, not now, not now is not the right time, now is the right time, it's always now. So, but not foolishly, again, let's not forget this. So this is, we will feel this adrenaline, and this adrenaline and need to get going, to really stand up for ourselves. So this is the initial phase of life. It's important to trust our inner knowing and not to overthink. So without overthinking or overanalyzing, just trusting ourselves and our own inner being. So let's get clear on what we are trying to create and manifest. What do I really want? And there is really magic behind this energy, and we are being deeply transformed and deeply regenerated, and we can recover magically from something. If we have suffered from something physically, mentally, or emotionally, we can feel the recovery energy. So it's really a great time of like very quick recovery. It's very fast. You know, we can quickly recover now. And we are being led by something greater than we can realize. And this may be the proof now for many of us that, like, wow, things can really happen just like that. Just by me knowing myself without these roles. So it can feel like truly an inner call. We will hear those inner whispers and this inner calling from the depths of who we are, and just, you know, understanding that we are the architects of our own lives, and we can align with the great architect of the universe. So we are a micro image of the greater architect of the universe. So we are micro images, and we are also architects of our own journey here, of our own universe. So we can do this. We are more than capable of doing this. We are more than capable of creating a masterpiece. So the question will also be, what have we mastered during this time? What have we mastered until now? And do we want to develop it more into something, or do we want to master something new now? And you know, we are being really guided now on this path of self-mastery. And it's beautiful because Saturn makes trine energy now with Mars, with this ruler of this new moon. Saturn makes a positive aspect with the ruler of this new moon, and this is very helpful too, because we can get that discipline, that structure, that responsibility that we need now to do all these things, to get going, to initiate, to start something new, to do things we couldn't even imagine doing. We now have great help from Saturn. So Saturn and Mars, when they collaborate, everything is possible. But when they are in war, they are in a big war. But now they are in a friendly aspect, and we have their support. So we can get going, we can move on, we can start really, we can embrace this energy. So we are putting extra focus on our self-care. And starting something new can be difficult, can be risky. We can feel like, we can feel that fear of achieving goals, or like fear of, am I gonna make it? But as I said, let's not overthink. Mercury is in conjunction with this new moon. So let's not overthink, let's not get into those things, but we can really put our own feeling of ourselves into words. We can express our own feeling of ourselves into words now. Words can really help us, even though sometimes we cannot put things into words, it's very hard. But now Mercury is in conjunction with this new moon, so it can really help us communicate what we want, how we feel, how we feel about ourselves, who we are. We can express ourselves through words and through gestures. And it's important to remember that eventually we all make mistakes, but let's not make it harder on ourselves and others when we are making mistakes. Why should we do that? Is it helping anyone? No. Is there any value? Is there any constructive thing that anyone can achieve through pointing out mistakes of others? Pointing them out just in order to show others that they have made a mistake, or that we have made a mistake. No, there is nothing constructive there. So let's just accept it, see it, and let's point out some other things that can help us overcome and learn from those mistakes. So it should be very good if we can make fun of ourselves during this time. Just if we feel hurt in any way, if we feel provoked, if we feel triggered in some way, if we feel a need to react impulsively, as we may probably feel in many ways, because this is Aries and Mars after all, if we feel provoked to say something impulsively without thinking, without tuning in with our first breath and with who we are, you know, we should really remember that we shouldn't go in that direction. We should first understand that this is all again a part of the story. So instead of blaming ourselves or reacting in a way that we may regret later, let's try to make fun of ourselves, and not taking things too seriously should be the key. And it's really always a key. So the sign, actually the sign of the presence of the spirit within ourselves is our ability to make fun of ourselves and to see the funny side of things that happen in our life. You know, humor is a very high level of spirituality. It's a high level of awareness and consciousness. So we can move through challenges easily, and much easier if we allow ourselves to make fun of ourselves in those situations where we feel like my ego has been provoked. I cannot allow this. Let me show you who I am. Do you know who I am? Do you know what I've been through? Let me show you who I am. All these things can get us into some conflicting and troubling situations with ourselves. But if we have ability to really see a funny side of it, if we can make fun of ourselves, we can really overcome all those impulsive frustrations and irritations that put us down, and this can actually propel us and make us move up. This can really turn on this great fire that can initiate us into something much greater, into a greater new story. So we should honor this energy of Mars. You know, we can transform it at any time. The energy of anger, of frustration, of irritation, this is actually the fuel for fire. And this fuel we can use in different ways. As I just said, we can just transform it. So without the energy of Mars, without that fire, we wouldn't have any motivation to live. We wouldn't have any drive to reach anything, to accomplish anything, to pursue any dreams or goals. We wouldn't have willingness to get out of our bed without Mars in us. So we all have Mars in our body, in our aura, in our being. Without this element, we wouldn't be able to communicate. We wouldn't be able to do anything, to take action. We wouldn't have a will to live. So let's honor this energy as well. This is a complete new birth. So we are starting, this is the energy that starts everything. This energy starts everything. And, you know, we should know that, as I said, the sun is rising. When the sun rises, the stars are hidden. We don't see them, but this doesn't mean that they are not there. So the sun can blind us in some way, but this, and we may not be able to see everything that is there. This can be something very strong, a strong light that can make us like we don't see, like when we see the sun shining in the middle of the day, in the peak of the summer day, for example, and we cannot see clearly. But if we close our eyes and focus more on our inner light and allow ourselves to adjust our inner sight to that light, we will be able to see many, many things that have been hidden from us. So the rising sun, the east, the golden fleece, and the ram, all these things are incorporated in us. This in the independence and the warrior energy. We are waking up this inner warrior, and this is strong and muscular energy. It's our muscles. So we can build those muscles now, but not only physically. We can build our muscles our spiritual muscles, our mental muscles, because this new moon is also in a bit wide, not in a wide conjunction actually, it's only 5 degrees or so between Neptune and this new moon. Neptune is in Pisces, this new moon is in Aries. Neptune is on the very last degrees of Pisces, and this new moon is in the very first degrees of Aries, so they are close, they are very close. And Neptune, as we know, is planet of oneness and something that has no boundaries. It's the transcendence, the spiritual mastery, the unity of all, the source. It's the unconditional existence. So we can transcend some of these experiences, and this can be, as I said, this spiritual rebirth and spiritual recovery, because many of us may see now that we have been living in a spiritual scarcity, but this is time for spiritual abundance, and this is the only real abundance that there is. We cannot be poor but in spirit. There is no, the only way that we can be poor if we are poor in spirit. So we may see that we have been living in a way that we have been too much concentrated on achieving things on the outside, that we have completely neglected our inner world. Even though we are talking so much about it, we may be, continuously reminded of it, but we haven't done anything with our inner world. We haven't devoted anything in that way. So this new moon is also an initiation into that spiritual abundance, especially with Saturn in Pisces also. And this is something that we cannot unsee. So we will see this. And this is the alchemical fire. So this alchemical fire can put us into that place where we belong, that first breath of I am. So this is, Aries is also, and Mars, the messenger of vitality. And the vitality in every way, spiritual vitality, physical vitality. When we are vital, we are healthy in every way, in every aspect of our life. Mental vitality, emotional vitality. So we need to be vital. We need to have this prana, the energy, the life energy flowing through us. As I said, without the spirit, we would only be elements. What are elements without the spirit? This is Aries represents an initial cause that comes out from primordial waters, or from Akasha, or from ether, if you like. And this is where it comes from. And ether is the fifth element. Ether is what unites these 4 elements. That's why we don't include ether into astrological readings, because only these 4 elements are involved solely for material creation, and ether unites them all. And this is that initial cause that comes from that primordial water. And this, as we know, the glyph of Aries is also like that V letter. It's like those horns, like V letter, and it's also known as the cornucopia, and it signifies the horns and also the vitality of life and the victory of life. And it also signifies that moment when the first young plant and the seed comes out through the concrete. It bursts right through the concrete. It's so strong, even though it's so gentle. It's that first cause, as I said, that first creation that comes out from these primordial waters. So that's the first fruit of the seed that just starts sprouting, and it comes out. And it's it awakens our desire for exploration and for self-exploration. And we are reminded that we are unbreakable. This is something that we should all be very, very much aware of. We are unbreakable. No matter what we've been through, we have survived everything. If we are right here and right now, and we are all listening to this and living life, we have survived everything upon this moment. All those things where we felt like, I cannot survive this, I won't survive this, all are, unfortunate feelings and processes, or all incidents and injuries and emotional pains. We have survived it all, and we are really, really unbreakable. And not really only physically. I love to say this every time. We are unbreakable in spirit. Spirit is unbreakable. It really is. There is nothing that can happen to the spirit, and this is the key element of who we are. Let's not forget this, because if we forget this, then we fall into fear, and fear has a very high frequency, and it manifests very quickly. So this is the point where Aries is the point where the zodiac recycles itself. The whole zodiac recycles itself. So all archetypes that we carry within ourselves are being recycled. There is the end of the journey has happened. We have reached the whole circle. We have touched the Pisces, and we've been through this whole wheel, and now it comes again. Now there is this, we are incorporating all archetypes, and we can just give birth to a whole new pattern. So it's a whole new pattern of who we are. And there is also one story that I just remembered, and I want to share it for the end of this video. And it's important because it reminds me of this energy. It reminds me of this action movement that is actually showing us that which is the fastest is actually something that is the most grounded. When something moves so quickly that we cannot see it, it seems to us as if it is standing in one place. It looks like it's not moving at all. That's the meditation. That's the key of meditation, of being still. It means that we are so quickly moving. We are taking all action that we can. We are being fully focused on that one action, that we are so still. And so the story is very short, and it says a student comes to the master and asks, "Master, what are you doing today?" And the master replies, "Nothing." And the student says, "But you did that yesterday." And the master says, "Yes, and I haven't finished." So the point is that the master knows, so that in doing nothing, he is doing everything. In being still, we are being the fastest that we can. So he's doing nothing, and he hasn't finished because it's the greatest work that can be done. And that's the key of meditation and the key of action as well. And I also just remembered one quote. I cannot remember who said it, but it says, "Sometimes I think and sometimes I am." So let's switch from this moment where sometimes I think to sometimes I am more. Let's remember that we know more when we are in this moment of I am. Of course, sometimes we have to include thinking and analytical mind in these processes, but from where do we take this? From where is the source of that thinking? It's from that I am moment, as well as this action and everything. Where is the source of action? In non-action. Where is the source of being fast and doing things quickly? In stillness and groundedness. So where is the source of everything? In doing everything, it's in doing nothing. So of course, let's try to practice these powerful abilities and tools that we carry within ourselves. And remember that we have the highest and most advanced technology, the technology of consciousness. And what is artificial within ourselves will be brought to light, and we will have to deal with it, as I said, and it may burn us. So it will be our reminder. Something will burn us. Those places where we are being too egoic, too focused on achieving things from only egoic, selfish desires without really thinking in any other way. If we are too focused on competing in toxic way, we will feel it. We will be burned in some way. But it's not a punishment. It's just our own. It's a reflection and projection of our own being. It's all who we are. Even that burning, it's from us. Everything comes to us, through us, from us, and for us. So there is nothing else happening. No one is punishing us. There is no punishment or reward. Those terms are just there to program us and to keep us imprisoned in some way, to keep us in fear. So let's break through these fears and remember that we can really spiral out from those programs and recycle ourselves, and we are transitioning from the old cycle into the new one, and let's launch those new beginnings. Let's see that this can burst forth, and remember that we are unbreakable. I love you all, and see you in 2 weeks. Bye bye.